All right. Another option for our bowls is to use a splash of color on the inside of these things. So the demonstration that you're watching today is going to be a two-parter. You're going to glaze the inside of the bowl first, and then you are going to do the outside. The inside is going to get your color. Clear should be on the outside 100% of the time. Do not dip this project into black on the outside, because then it's going to cover up all your hard work. It has happened. All right, so again, we're going with a color on the inside, and then we're doing clear on the outside. Now this is a two-part process, and this one is probably going to take you a little bit longer to kind of make happen and do the right way. So really think about if you want to do this one. You're really going to want to make the active choice to kind of do this one properly, because it is a little bit more difficult. All right, and kind of the long and short of it is the same rules apply. We're going to stir the heck out of our glaze before we start working with the stuff. Before we dip, before we do this, because we're going to be spending time with the inside of the bowl, we need to focus on that. Maybe a little bit of water on the outside. So we got a spray bottle, give it a spray. And then just like we did before, we're going to let that dry to the touch. We don't want any standing water. Again, I'm going to be using a plastic bowl to kind of give you the rundown for this. And then you guys are of course going to do this on your actual bowls. All right, so I'm going to be using gloss black as an example. You do not have to use this glaze. You can use any of the ones in the buckets, anything that we have enough of. You will need another clean cup or pour-er thing, bigger bowl, whatever it ends up being. Cups are going to be great. Make sure that they are nice and clean so that we do not contaminate our glazes. And we are going to start, this could be on the counter, I'm just showing you because I want to make sure that it's on camera. And we're going to want to fill our bowl, I don't know, about halfway. It doesn't have to be perfect. And we do have to work fairly quick on this process so that we don't overglaze our stuff. We don't add too much overglaze. And now at this point, I'm swirling the stuff around in a controlled fashion so that I get a good layer on top of the surface. And this one's kind of tough. As you pour, you're gonna spin the bowl around and let the stuff drip on the entire edge. Let the stuff drip out. Then we're gonna take our bowls and we're gonna dip just the top little part of it inside so we get a nice clean rim on this thing, okay? That's kind of an important part. This is probably one I'm gonna show a few people in class again. We do wanna have a wet sponge close to us so that we can wipe off any extra drips that might exist. Again, this is gonna look different on your actual bowls than it is on my plastic bowl. But what we're ultimately going for is a tiny little rim on top of the bowl. And then of course, this project does have to sit for the next little bit so that it can dry and so that you can handle it. Now let's fast forward a little bit. I'm gonna rinse this off so that I don't get black glaze in my clear glaze. We are going to be now working with the exterior of the bowl. 10 minutes later, 15 minutes later, whatever it ends up being, now we got to get the inside of this thing glazed. You guessed it, we're going to be holding it from the inside. You could use the tongs if you want, but you're probably going to alter the surface. You're going to put some little pinholes in it from where the tongs are holding it, which can be difficult. Now we're working with the outside. We are going to take our bowls and we are going to press it into the clear glaze to the point where it meets the line of color that we added. Let it sit for your 2 seconds, and then we're gonna pull it out, hang on to it, then it gets set on the counter, and then of course when the thing is dry, we're gonna get rid of all the glaze that's on the bottom of this thing so that it doesn't get stuck to the shelves, so that I or my TAs don't have to do a bunch of extra work for you, okay? So it's a pretty straightforward process, slightly more difficult because of the way you're having to handle the handle the bowls while you're glazing. A little bit more work, but you can end up with a nice splash of color. Again, I use sandy matte for the inside of this one. My demonstration bowl, kind of a fun situation right there. Mr. Parkio, can I use blue 98? Yep. Can I do all clear? Absolutely. Can I double dip it? Sure you can. It's got to be a color on the inside. It's got to be clear on the outside. If you mess that one up, A, you can't see your work. B, you're probably going to lose points for not following that hard direction. Mr. Parkio, can I add some splashes of color with my underglazes? Sure, before you go dip it in clear, that's A-okay by me. All right? And then, of course, like always, if you have questions, let me know, and I'll do my best to help you out. Hopefully this was good for you guys. It was good for me.